Hi, karibuni. First of all, apologies. Hii live imekuwa tu na mashida because ilianza na stima kupotea, then I started getting some nonsensical calls about nonsense, nothing. Anyway, nataka kuimaliza haraka haraka because it seems ndio ile siku yenye mashetani zinaanzaga. Anyway, the toxic masculinity myth. So first of all, hii story ya toxic masculinity or the name toxic masculinity ilianzishwa na feminists. I don't trust feminists to define anything that about men. I don't trust them. So number one, already origin yake for me already ni suspicious. Sawa, because I hate feminists or anything, but because of the current mentality or the mentality at your time that women are oppressed by men. That women cannot get ahead because men are actively oppressing them. That men are the thing that is standing between women and their success. Sawa. So that's why they bring this toxic masculinity to define actually just the fact that walichukua jina masculinity wakaongeza jina toxic hapo mbele. Number one, it is just crazy. Sawa, because masculinity is what men are and what is expected of men. So they don't call their expectation of men to be part of toxic masculinity. But what other men expect from men, what men expect from themselves to women who are feminists, that is toxic masculinity. But when they have expectations of men as a society of women, right? So they say toxic masculinity is this expectation of society on men that causes problems, whether they have these weird words, maladaptiveness, just these big words. But the feminists themselves have an expectation of men, and the feminists themselves are part of this society. So their expectation of these men, even if it is actively infringing or influencing negatively their lives, to them that's not toxic masculinity. It is just fighting the patriarchy. It is the price that has to be paid for women to be liberated. And that's where I have a problem with, because every time somebody brings up issue of toxic masculinity, they just want to talk bad about men, about men's expectation of themselves and about society's expectation of these men. However, they will have their own expectations upon these men, but that is not toxic masculinity, even if it negatively impacts on their lives. Right now, you see people saying, men, you have to be vulnerable. You have to accept to be vulnerable. Men, please speak out. Please tell us what you're going through. Listen, my friends, as a man, try that BS with your woman. At first, it will be, oh, it's so cute. Oh, you're sharing with me. Then you share again, and then she's like, now you are oversharing. Man up. And I'm not talking about the traditional woman. I'm talking about the feminists, the modern feminists. Will tell man up. Or they'll be telling you, okay, you as a man, you have nothing to complain about. You have nothing to complain about. You have all the power, you have all the privileges, you have all this nonsense, this. They'll call off nonsensical things, which are your perceived privileges as a man. So when you share about your challenges and your struggles, it's like, why are you sharing with me? So for example, you come to a feminist and say, do you know that the rise of suicides is about that men's mental health is not being taken serious? Then she will say, but you guys are with all the powers. You guys should fix that. You should fix that shit. Why are you telling me? And you ask, okay, ask guys. So what do you mean by we guys? Me and who? Then you men, it's like, you do realize that you are my boss, right? That you actually make more money than me. That you actually have more privileges at the workplace than me. That you actually live a better life because you live in a better neighborhood than me because of the money you are making. You do realize that you are more privileged than me. It's like, no. But you guys are in charge of society. in charge of which society? Which ones? Me, and who? So just because a tiny percentage of men sit at the top of the hierarchy and the largest percentage of men are at the bottom, you want to tell me that the largest percentage of men at the bottom share the same privileges as the tiny percentage of men at the top? But you see, logic is foreign to some of these people. That's why they'll come and say things like toxic masculinity. And when you ask them about, okay, what is this toxic masculinity, they tell you, telling a boy not to cry. Do you know? And then you tell the boy to cry. But you don't tell the boy when they cry, you will be the first one to tell them to shut up, tell them to man up. I know some of you will be like, no, not me. I'll never do that. Listen, and listen good. Why are you telling men to put themselves in situations which has a high likelihood of backfiring and having a negative impact on them? Do you know why boys are told not to cry? Have you ever sat down and thought about it? There is this analogy. I just watched it on one of the trigonometry videos on YouTube. They were interviewing a couple of, like, a dude and a chick, and they were telling the story like it is in a book where two people are walking and they hit a wall, and then one person says, like, the wall is stopping them from going either to the other side or it is standing in their way. So one person says, we have to get rid of this wall, but the second person says, no, 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 no. Until we understand the role of the wall, we cannot tear it down. Right? So you are tearing this thing of telling boys not to cry, but you don't understand why that is the case. Why the same parent who is telling a boy not to cry will allow a girl to cry? Why? The same parent. Why do you think? It's not because they hate the boy. It's because they understand the kind of society this boy is growing into, and the expectation this society will have of men, and the expectation of this girl will have on this boy. When this girl cries, she will expect this boy to come in and respond. And then you'll see some nonsensical people saying, but women don't need men to protect them. Like, are you living in the real world? Are you part of the human population now? Are you kidding me right now? You do not need men's protection. So let me ask you this. If you're walking down a dangerous street, because they are dangerous people, and we know these streets, tunazijua ile street yenye ikifika saa fulani, you either go the long way ama ulale kwenye huko. But now hauna choice, you have to go down this street, whether it is lit or it is not lit. But down this street definitely utapatana na wale watu wa kushikana ngeta, definitely, ama wale watu wa kudungana visu utapatana nao. Whom would you rather have? 10 women or 3 men? Or who do you think the people who do what they do, wale wanakungoja, who do you think they will be more afraid of? 10 women or 3 men? If you had a choice. So don't come here trying to pretend that we don't need men for protection. As long as there are bad people in this world, both male and female, you will always need protection. And men make the best of protectors. Why? Because physically we are strong. And our what is it called? Not the rate of violence, but there's this nice English word they say, like, in terms of the violence meter, ours is higher. Like you won't push around a man for, there's just a point it reaches and then you're going to catch hands, right? So violence for us is an option. It's always an option, even in our everyday, day-to-day engagement. Just because a man after an argument walks does not mean he cannot fight. He's just looking at, doing the math, right? What is the value? Like in terms of positivity and negativity, in terms of what I'll gain and what I'll lose when I start throwing hands. Sometimes you just look at the argument and look at the issue and it's like, this is nonsense. I'm not going to pay a fine for this. I'm not going to be sued for this. I'm not going to jail for this. And then there are times when it's like, yeah, whatever. Let's go to jail. Same people who are saying that, men need to stop being violent. Men need to stop being violent. Will be the first people to call on these men when they are attacked by people who are violent. And what do you think this man you are calling to come defend you when another man is being violent to you? What do you think this man you've called is coming to do? He's bringing a bigger threat of violence that is going to deter this other violent person from violating you. So it is that threat of violence, or that, even just the exhibition of violence, that aggressiveness that the man you've called comes with, that this other person knows it, if you push this, we are going to do this. That's how they back off. Why do you think nations have armies and you're not actively at war? Why? Why do you think nations have police? It is it is the possibility of their violent response to invasion that makes other states say, if we invade, they have an army. They will defend themselves. And you don't defend invasion by hugs and kisses and teddy bears. Anyway, back to toxic masculinity. So they even bring issues of virility. Virility is the ability of a man to produce healthy sperm and impregnate. So like a man being sexually and reproductively healthy, to them is toxic masculinity. Like what? What? Yeah, and men are out here trying to procreate. That's what they are made to. We are animals at the end of the day. We are out here trying to make people pregnant, whether it's your wife, your girlfriend, whatever. If you don't want to get pregnant, there are about 33 plus contraceptive choices that you can use to protect yourself from pregnancy. Because if men, like right now, there's men going their own way movement. Women are crying all over. Where are these men going? These men are boys. You mean they are going away because they can't handle my independence? Nobody wants an independent woman. The whole point of coming together is interdependency. Interdependency. So why am I like against this toxic masculinity nonsense? It's because, listen, at the end of the day, you need that one person, whether male or female, who you can trust to hold the fort down when the shit hits the fan. When the shit hits the fan. Giving you an example, you are in a plane, and then it's turbulent. It's like, oh, it's bad. Everybody's scared and everything, and then you just hear pilot coming on the, whatever they use, and say, hi, passengers, we apologize. The journey is a bit turbulent. The weather is rough, but we are doing everything we can. We are on top of it. We are going to get out of it, so don't worry. Just that calm, reassured voice will calm you down. Now imagine the same situation, and then the pilot starts screaming. start screaming like crazy and saying how they are going to die and everything, what do you think will happen in case number two? Case number one, the pilot is calm. Maybe the plane is in trouble. Maybe he's trying to crash land it or something. But he will always maintain his composure because he's the person everybody is trusting to get them there safely. Now, if that person who is trusted to get people safe to safety is the one screaming and freaking out, imagine the passengers. Imagine how dangerous that situation will be. That is men for you. That's why men are told not to cry. And their father told, you know what? Your tears, they are precious. Don't just be crying over everything. In fact, remove yourself from public and then go and break down. Men do cry a lot, but not in public. Just because you mean you want us to do a public exhibition of men crying? For what value? I asked a friend of mine this question. Two scenarios: a woman walking down the street crying, and a man walking down the street crying. Is there a difference? And she said yes. And I asked why. She said, if I saw a man crying, like a woman crying, that is like people can say, maybe she lost a relative, maybe she's in trouble, whatever. A man crying, then that will freak her out. Why? Because she knows that men do not easily cry. So what is this thing that is making this man cry? So that she told me that her awareness, or situational awareness at that time will go up, because she'll be like, where is the trouble? Why is this man crying? And in public, what is happening? What is he going? What is going on? Because we are not used to it. It is precious to us. We opening ourselves up to people is not something we do just like that, willy-nilly. I like that one. Yeah, from the thing blue line. Willy-nilly. It's not something we do willy-nilly, right? As a man, you're supposed to use logic over feelings. Another example. Look, why are men being castigated for being men? That's who we are. Take it or leave it. Stop trying to make who we are the problem. That men are committing suicide because of who they are, because they are masculine. No, 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 no. Because of mental health issues. And then you cannot tell me that this man developed mental health issue because he is masculine, because he is not easily sharing his feelings. Do you know how dangerous it is for a man to just go around sharing his feelings? Do you know how we are perceived? And let me tell you something. The society is not going to change. So you are going to sit there and say, oh, but we are going to change the society, so it is okay. The society is not going to change. You pretend, or you think that is what you want now. You just wait until shit hits the fan, and then people are out here hacking each other with machetes. And then you're going to tell me how you're going to hug yourself out of that situation. People are, machetes and arrows are flying, and bullets and stones, using flings. People are, and you just tell me how you're going to hug yourself out of that situation, or how you're going to kindness yourself out of that situation. A society needs strong men. A society needs men who are in charge of their feelings. Listen, Judge Joe Brown tells it very clearly. The problem we have with men is that we do not have masculinities. Men are no longer masculine. Men are these soy boys, snowflakes. This thing offends me. Nonsensical men. That is the problem today. Men are not in charge of their feelings. Men have allowed feelings to trump logic. That's why a man will beat up his wife knowing that he will most likely go to jail, beat her up and break her arm or hurt her in such a situation where she needs to go to hospital, knowing that that issue will be reported because she's going to see a doctor who is going to ask questions. And then that issue will be escalated to the police. And then the man will be arrested, possibly jailed, because the food was too salty. I mean, you just served time because the food was too salty. Where's the logic in that? Logic over feelings. We have people quitting jobs because they perceive their boss to be out to get them. Like, these people don't love me. I go to work and everybody hates me. Who told you go to work to be loved? You go to work to earn your daily bread. You are giving a skill, you're giving your time to somebody else so that they can compensate you with money. You're not taking your feelings there. There are areas, there are levels in which, if you're always being picked on, if you're being disrespected, if people are violent against you, if there are issues when you sit down and say, yeah, for this one I will quit too. But you do not quit because somebody was given a promotion and you did not. Nobody owes you a promotion. I have to break it to you. Nobody is out there. Nobody goes to work to love their workmates. Nobody is paid to love their workmates. I am a decent human being, so I will treat every other person I interact with decently, with respect. But that does not mean I'm going out giving hugs and coming to your birthday parties and wishing you happy birthday and throwing bashes for you. No, I am here to work because I have a wife and kid. They need to eat. My kid needs to go to school. I'm here to work. As long as that's why I have a contract. The contract does not say love your workmates. It's not on the scope of work, neither is it in the terms of reference. Logic over feelings. Women will quit work because their boss hates them. It is interesting how a man will work in a certain company all his life. And then when he retires, that's when, or he talks shit every day about work. It's like, my boss hates me, I hate what I do. Then people wonder, why are you still going back there to work? Because he needs money. And the possibility that he will quit and get another job is, it diminishes over time. Unless you have such unique skills which appreciate or which are in so much demand. And like some skills, for example, if you're a software developer, those skills get better and better and better and better and better. But if you're an accountant and you have done, you are educated to whichever level, there's a level where you just get and it is the cap. Like there is nothing new you are offering. Of course, you can be multi-talented. You can be like, he does his work in half the time. So you are efficient because you have learned the skills. You know information about the tax code. Like you have a lot of information about accounting. So that information adds value to you. But how many people want that kind of some organizations or companies just want an accountant, somebody who can do the numbers. That's it. Unless now you go and either start your audit firm or something, then that is added value. But most of the time, most companies, they just want an accountant, somebody who will pay taxes, who will do the statutory returns, who will crunch the numbers and bring a balance sheet. That's it. So you're not going to to the job to love people. You're just going to do the numbers. There are people who will hate you. There are people who will like you. There are people who will be indifferent. That is life. Logic over feelings. But as a man, you can work in an environment which is not, what is the word? Haikubambi, place Haikubambi. Like, you don't enjoy going there, but the pay is good. So logically, because you have nowhere else where you can get money to pay rent and all that, you are okay because you know what has taken you to that work. And those are the things which people will say is toxic masculinity. Why? Because they say that work environment is going to ruin your mental health. Imagine how big being broke will do to my mental health. When I can't pay my rent, when I can't buy food, when I can't take my kids to school. Imagine how much worse that is than me taking my ass and going to work in a place where I am not comfortable and I am not happy. It's all about compromise. It's all about compromising. About, you know, I just love um, getting new information. There is, I think it was on Facebook, I don't know who I was listening to, and that person says there are no solutions. Um, there's this other thing he said. I've Leo niko off. Even my mind is not working. Use trade-offs. Yes, there are no solutions, just trade-offs, right? Because that solution, you have to give up something. You can't have a holistic solution. Even people who do programs, these feel good people who are out here helping people, social work, doing programs, you'll just be told, we are sorry, but our program is for children. That does not mean that as an adult you're not suffering. That does not mean that you don't need help, but their program is for children. They have done it. They are bringing solutions for children, and by targeting children, they are trading off adults. Then there are programs for adults which are not for children. So as a child, no matter how much trouble you are in, if it is not your parent, you are not dealing with that. So no solution, just trade-off. That is something men need to understand. Oh yeah, I was talking about a lack of masculinity. Men who are not masculine, who do not have a masculine, who are not in their masculine frame, those are the most violent, those are the most disgusting, the most toxic people. Men who are masculine are happy, they are more successful, and they are a treasure to their communities because they know they owe the community something. If we are attacked, if a neighboring country attacks us and overwhelms our military, I should rise up and take arms to protect my family, my people, my land. If somebody breaks into my house, I am supposed to stand up to protect my family and my children, my community. That's what I'm supposed to do. I'm not going to let just somebody come and do whatever they want with my wife and my kids. But these soy boys, these people who you have walking around calling themselves male feminists, you watch. You watch. Masculine men. You know, masculine men are assertive. Assertive is, I know what I want. I am confident in who I am. I am assertive. Masculine men are industrious. That means we are active. We are always active, building us, building wealth, building communities. We are active. We are strong. We can not just of physical strength but also of character. We are also courageous and independent. Now my question is, if masculinity is so toxic, if being strong is so toxic, if assertiveness is so toxic, if being aggressive is so toxic, why do feminists tell women to be aggressive, to be strong, to be independent, to be assertive? All the traits which are associated with masculinity. somebody will stand and say, oh, but you are the men, you are the people who came up with these things, so now a woman can. I'm not saying a woman can't be that. I'm saying strength of a, when you say a woman is strong and a man is strong, you mean two different things. When you say that's a strong woman, and when you say that's a strong man, you mean two different things. But both of them are strong. Both of them are assertive. Both of them are independent to a certain degree. Right? Because you are human. You are an individual. So that means that comes with a degree of independence. And then you see, things which attract women to men are things which feminists are calling toxic. Women are attracted to industrious men, assertive men, independent men, men who are courageous, men will not be pushed around, men who are competitive, men who are competitive in their fields and in their communities. Not just a man who is just okay, just being mediocre. So I feel very bad. Actually, I get triggered when I see somebody talking about toxic masculinity. And what they are talking about is nonsense. Masculinities are not toxic. They are toxic men. Masculinities it's like alcohol. It depends on who is drinking the alcohol. There are people who, when they drink alcohol, they are very calm. They laugh. They are just in their happy place. And there are people, when they drink alcohol, they are violent. They are destructive. But that has nothing to do with alcohol. It is how that person is. Or that person, when alcohol goes and switches off whatever it switches on and switches off and on in the brain, what that person now becomes. It's not the alcohol. The alcohol did exactly the same thing to person A and person B. But the way they responded and acted is different. So masculinities are neutral. It is the man that is toxic. So if you attract toxic men, don't say masculinities are toxic. If you are in a company of toxic men, don't say masculinities are toxic. If you, and then there is something Kevin Samuel says, you attract who you are. So if you are a woman and you attract toxic men, that means you are what? Toxic.